All right, thanks, Steph. Our time right now is 5:02, and this morning the final results still coming in to a historic election.
Yeah, we're going to be breaking down those numbers all morning for you here in Alabama and across the nation. It is now President-elect Donald Trump. This is what the Electoral College map looks like at this moment. Trump reaching 277 electoral votes with Wisconsin called in about the last 30 minutes. Of the 270 needed, he wins in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Georgia.
Now, when it comes to the popular vote, the president-elect beating the vice president by over 4 million votes. We're now going to bring Sarah in from at the late breaking news desk.
Yeah, and Sarah, Donald Trump giving a victory speech overnight. What was his message, and what states are we still waiting on at this moment?
Well, yeah, guys, we are still waiting on a few more states to be projected, but as you guys mentioned, Trump officially over that 270 mark. We'll have more on that in just a moment. But this morning, the 45th president now poised to be the 47th president, something that hasn't been done since Grover Cleveland. Now, Trump speaking to his supporters overnight in West Palm Beach.
We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that.
And this morning, the president-elect over that 270 mark, but there are still several states where the races are just too close to call. Let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers in Michigan. Those numbers a little slower to come in here right now, but you can see here Trump at that 50% mark, 95% of those votes counted there. Out west, we're still waiting on two states, a really tight race in Arizona. You can see here 60% of the votes reported in Arizona right now. Donald Trump with a lead there at 52%. And lastly, Nevada numbers. They are still rolling in this morning. You can see here those numbers, 84% reported there, Trump sitting at 51%. We're also waiting on those numbers to come in on Alaska. So we'll continue to keep a close eye on these states this morning. And if any of them are projected, we'll make sure to bring it to you here at the Breaking News Desk. Scott?
All right, Sarah, sounds great. Thank you. It's now 5:04, and here in Alabama, President-elect Donald Trump taking the state with over 65% of the vote. We're going to do a deep dive into voting numbers from across our state coming up in just a few minutes.
Well, the other big race in Alabama getting national attention, that is the newly drawn District 2. Democrat Shamari Figures winning with 55% of the vote there. That means that Alabama will now have 2 Democrats in the U.S. House. We're going to hear from both of them in just a moment.
We're also following several congressional races.
4 of our 7 districts were up for election. It was an easy win in District 7 for incumbent Congresswoman Terry Sewell with over 63% of the vote there.
And incumbent Gary Palmer not having any issues with challenger Elizabeth Anderson, the congressman getting 71% of the vote.
And in that newly redrawn district, 1 will now be represented by Congressman Barry Moore. He is currently the congressman for District 2. And 5:05 right now, in history made in District 2, Shamari Figures winning that redrawn seat, becoming the first black person from Mobile to be elected to the U.S. Congress.
He's also just the second Democrat to represent Alabama's 2nd congressional district in 60 years. WVTM 13's Emma Owen joining us live in studio this morning. Emma, Figures already has big plans for this district, too.
Yeah, Scott and Carla, he sure does. During his victory speech last night, he says he has plans to improve health care in his district, and he also wants to promote economic development and create new jobs. Now, a lot of eyes were on this race, of course, as redistricting caused the seat to be redrawn. This resulted in a second majority-minority district here in Alabama. And you can see here the results were tight. Shamari Figures winning with 54% of the vote. Caroline Dobson had 45%. Now, last night, Figures thanked his wife and his loved ones. There was a really touching and really an emotional moment where Figures reflected on his father's legacy. He passed away in 1996 while he was still a state senator. And last night, Figures reflected on his last words to 911 after his father had a brain aneurysm. When dispatchers asked what was wrong, Michael Figures said, "I don't know."
What he did not know was that his work paved the way for us to go back to Washington, D.C. as the first black person from Mobile to serve in the United States Congress.
Now, WVTM was also at his opponent, Caroline Dobson's watch party. She was emotional during her speech, tearing up as she recited the poem If by Rudyard Kipling. Dobson said she wasn't the typical candidate, being a real estate attorney and a mother of 2. This is her first time running for office, but she believes there needs to be more citizen servants striving to take public office.
As someone who was born and raised in the 2nd District, who's proud to be from here, proud to be raising my kids here in this district. My roots run deep, and I appreciate every vote, every word of encouragement, and every prayer that was offered on my behalf.
Now, as for what's next for Dobson, she says that's still up in the air, but plans to catch up on quality time with her children. Scott?
All right, Emma, thank you. And with Democrats now gaining a seat in Alabama, here's what the latest balance of power looks like in Congress right now. 435 total seats, Republicans defending a narrow majority. Right now, Republicans have 194 seats here. Democrats have 176, 218 needed to have control. We'll watch these numbers.
Well, the major news is coming in the U.S. Senate. The Republicans have regained control, flipping seats in Ohio and in West Virginia. They have 51 seats right now, but there are 7 races that have yet to be called.
And let's get back to the numbers here in our state. Alabama voting for Donald Trump, 65 to 34%. You can see here how the counties voted. And these blue counties would be Democratic, the red Republican, Jefferson County, and the Black Belt voting for the vice president. Taking a deeper dive into Jefferson County here, Harris winning it 55 to 44%. It was a bigger margin in Montgomery County, 65 to 34 for the vice president. But when you look at other larger metros in Alabama, Mobile County going 58 to 41 in favor of Trump. And in Madison County, which is home to Huntsville, it was Trump 54 to 45.
And here in Alabama, over 2.2 million votes were cast, but it was not all smooth sailing at the ballot box. That's because there were some ballots that were printed without State Amendment 1 and Local Amendment 1. These printing mistakes were seen in at least 28,000 ballots across St. Clair County. Thousands of voters waited for hours in line only to be turned away.
Well, it's very disappointing. You wait 4 years to vote, and I also think you have 4 years to prepare, and things like this should not happen.
Well, the affected precincts extended their hours until 9 o'clock last night, but some voters had to make 2 or 3 trips in order to cast their ballot. Our Jefferson County Commissioner and former Alabama Supreme Court Justice and probate judge Mike Boland is joining us now in studio. You just heard one of those voters there in line talking about the issues they had with their, in your role as a probate judge. You oversaw elections in Jefferson County for years. He making the comment, that they had 4 years to prepare, and then something like this happens. But obviously, it's a lot deeper than that, correct?
It really is. Start out by telling you that how proud I am of the people that we have in Jefferson County that work in elections. All the poll workers that you see, they're so educated. The probate judges have always been good to make sure they were armed with everything they need to serve the public on election day, and good people. And they tend to work every year. And this is a very arduous job, getting out there at 5 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes you're through at midnight that night. My wife and I went to our polling place a little before 7. That's what I like to do. And it seems like everybody had already voted at that time. I
was going to say, there was a lot to contend with this year because it seemed like at many of the polling places, there were a lot of people. There were additional concerns about security. We had more poll watchers. And overall, how do you think things went yesterday?
I think they went very smooth. Now, I'll be honest with you, I didn't get too much feedback yesterday evening. And once the election's over with, I didn't even go to the victory parties. I like to wait till the next morning and y'all tell me what happened. Because you've done everything you can do in the election. But of course, as probate judge, you're elected partisan. That's the way Alabama chooses to handle its judiciary as far as the probate judge is concerned. But you turn off the politics when you're dealing with people. You represent all the people.
Right, exactly. All right, Mike Boland, the Jefferson County Commissioner, former probate judge. We'll have you all morning long. We'll check back in with you about more topics throughout the morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for all of our national and local results, you can head to our free WVTM 13 app.